Well, hello everyone, it is me, Media Nerd. And I'm finally getting around to making the Q&A video. I did not mean for it to be taking this long. Reasons for what happened. My old computer basically had a problem with its battery and motherboard, and I had to get a new one. And yeah, this one is a lot better. It's the same brand I had, but the more up-to-date version, and it's pretty good. And yeah, the only problem is that I don't have the video editor that I usually use. I have to pay for it again, and I'm gonna have to use OpenShot for a bit longer. But yeah, and let's get on to the questions. But now, before I do answer them, I probably won't give you as in-depth answers as you may have wanted to, because during the original recordings I've done 2 takes of this video, and I did not enjoy doing it at all because it was too long and it got way too. I don't want this video being overly long than it really needs to be. So if I don't explain things very well, or if I don't elaborate well, or if I forget to say something, then that's the reason why. So yeah. So the first question, Dragon David, his 3 questions are: what is your favorite JoJo part? Who is your favorite Spider-Man? And who is your favorite character from Super Sentai? And yes, I will leave this funny the replies here, because this is actually kind of funny. But yeah, to answer your first question, it's either between Part 3 or Part 4. Part 3, even though it's got like a lot of inconsistencies with its story and stuff, it's the first JoJo part where it has something to actually offer, as opposed to like the first 2 parts, which are honestly fucking mid looking back. And like part 3 is just like, it has one of my favorite casts in the series too. Like, I love the Stardust Crusaders. I like the Stand Bells, even though they are pretty simplistic. I also really like how Dio is like he's a much better villain here than he was in part 1. Although he does lose points for his characterization not being as strong. But with part 4, it essentially, like, it would similar to part 3. It's kind of a bit similar to part 3 in some ways, but it also does generally feel like it actually learned from part 3's flaws. Like having a episodic story that is actually, continuously being built up and stuff. And the stand balls are much more creative and have much more creative solutions. And like Kira is like, not only is he a fantastic villain, but also his character is able to be fleshed out as well in this in the same part he's introduced, and that's amazing. And part 4 also has like my favorite Jotaro, and so yeah, and also Josuke is the GOAT as well. As for your second question, you didn't really specify which Spider-Man exactly, like live action, animation, or I guess specific iteration. So I'm just gonna say 606 Spider-Man, because when you read the comic books, you realize that a lot of the adaptations just do not understand the character very well, and a lot of them really have missed. A lot of them have really missed the mark when it comes to like getting him right, and it's just annoying how like they just keep getting him wrong and stuff. And there's a lot of stuff I feel as if people don't talk about, because apparently System 6 Spider-Man isn't the greatest Spider-Man of all, because Spider-Man 2 is apparently the best thing ever, and so is Spectacular Spider-Man and No More Soy, even though like they are very overhyped, especially the last 2. Sorry to say about that Spider-Man 2, but that movie is honestly, I don't really enjoy it as much as I used to anymore, and I'm sick and tired of people acting like that's the be-all end-all of Spider-Man content. Especially with Spectacular Spider shit, which is a even worse Spider-Man thing, and also No More Soy, which is a honestly kind of a shit movie looking back. But yeah, System Spider-Man, I love his character arc, I love the stories, I love everything about him. If we ignore the stuff after the Civil War stuff and onwards to now, but yeah. As for your final question, my favorite character from Super Sentai is Geki the Tornado Ranger. I love him the most because he he has an undying faith towards justice. I love his character arc during the Bryce storyline, and I also really love the moment in the episode with Dragon Caesar when he became extremely depressed over Bryce's death. I love the part where he tells Caesar that while he may be gone, in the living, he'll always be in our hearts, and we have to keep fighting until Bandora is defeated. And that's honest to God amazing, man. But I do want to give an honorable mention to Yuki Guy from Jetman, because like I really do like how he goes from being like a complete dickhead, and then he goes to becoming like a genuinely good person and an ally for Ryu, and he manages to die with his friends, even if the way how he died wasn't really well written, but I mean at least it's better than him dying all alone. But yeah, thanks for your questions, David. Now on to the next person, which is the Piccolo Show. What got you into comic books and Spider-Man? Which anyone's wondering, I do know that it is him because he did tell me one time that this is him. But I don't know why the ads made it like this, but whatever. But yeah. What got me into I'll tackle both of them because they are tied heavily into each other. But what got me into Spider-Man and comics as a whole was the Raimi films, which I mean isn't really anything to be shocked by because I mean everyone knows of Spider-Man because of the Raimi films. And I was also watching the other adaptations as well, playing the video games and not reading the comics, watching videos about the comic books, like learning the history of a certain character or story, or a toy review of a Marvel Legends figurine, where the reviewer would explain what the figure was based off of from, and my imagination would just go insane, and I would just... I honestly am kind of sad I didn't read a lot of comic books growing up, but at least I've managed to make up for it during 2021 up to now. Now next is Firewind Productions. What is your favorite Hokuto no Ken arc? For me, it's the Five Chariots saga, where everything that was being built up has the perfect payoff, and I don't want to spoil it that much, but like when we see the final battle between Kenshiro and Rao, it's honestly amazing. I don't think I've ever seen anything that has impressed me this much as Goku versus Frieza. It's that amazing, and I don't want to go too in depth to it in case anyone does want to get into the series, but it's honest to God an amazing arc, and I'm a bit sad it wasn't the final arc, but hey, at least, we did get something good out of it, even if later arcs, even if they're not as good as this final arc and previous Hokuto no Ken arcs, but, that's still good. Number 2, what do you like other Marvel heroes other than Spider-Man? In the past, I did. However, because of, the MCU and, the general, discussions around the MCU as a whole, it's become tiring for me, and because it's kind of hard for me to get into the other Marvel heroes because they don't really have, unlike Spider-Man has more adaptations, which makes it easier to get into his books, and also Spider-Man comics aren't that difficult to get into. Yes, there are plenty bumps in the road, but it's nowhere near as difficult as I don't know, I can't name specifics because I'm not super familiar, but from what I do know, there's some characters where they were introduced in this one comic, and for the first few years they're in that comic book. Then they get their own series, and then there's the other series here and there, and sometimes they don't run that long, but then they do run long, and anything else. I'm probably getting some of it wrong, but for those who have read comic books and have told me this stuff, yeah, you get what I'm trying to say, and yeah, but maybe one day I will get back into Marvel comic books and read the original comic books, but nowadays I've just lost interest in them, and for now I'm a Spider-Man only guy, so yeah. Now as for your final question, do you hate Chi-Chi? No, I don't. I don't know why you would think that I hate Chi-Chi. Where did I get the what did I do that made you think that? Like, okay, jokes aside, I can't understand if you saw the time I really did tweeted out how I really disliked the 23rd Tenkachi version of Chichi because she's very annoying in that story, and she's just an annoying tsundere. And well, even though Chichi can be annoying, especially in the anime filler for the Z era, I'll gladly take that over Chichi being a fucking annoying tsundere simp. But yeah, I do actually really love Chi Chi. She's one of my favorite characters. She's a much better uh wife and much more suitable partner. Well, she's a much better like when it comes to characterization, I do think Bulma is better, but when it comes to like what I find attractive in a woman and stuff, Chi Chi is like much better than Bulma, who's like a fucking degenerate. Bulma is. She may be small, but oh my god, the shit she does, man, it's insane. And yeah, Chi Chi's the best wife, and yeah, she might not be the best fighter, but and she may not be the smartest, but she is the best wife out of all the Dragon Ball female characters. Certainly a lot better than fucking Videl. That's all I'm gonna say on that matter. But yeah. Next up is Zerku. His first question is, what's your top 3 or top 5 favorite Vegeta outfits? I can only do 3 because I can't really think of 2 others if I did top 5, so I'm just gonna do top 3. My top 3 would be Boo Saga outfit, the one he wears throughout most of the story, the Zona Vegeta outfit, and the outfit he has during the towards the end of the Frieza saga, the one with the navy blue outfit. That's a really underrated outfit in my opinion, because I don't really see a lot of people talking about it like a lot, or like it doesn't get talked enough in my opinion, and I'm pretty sad because it's a much better outfit than his Cell Saga outfit, which I'm kind of sick and tired of seeing of, and well, it's kind of mid looking. Now on to your second question, favorite aspects of Miguel O'Hara. Okay, so I haven't fully read all of the books. I've only read like a few issues and seen Across the Spider-Verse and stuff like that. But what I can say, what I really like about the character so far is that he's much more serious compared to Peter Parker. I like his sense of humor. I like how different his origin and power set is compared to Peter's. I mean, it's similar, but also very different in a lot of ways. I like how he doesn't rely so much on Peter Parker so much. You can tell he is very much his own character while still having the spirit of Spider-Man in him, and I also really like how he is someone who is willing to put a few people at risk if it means if it essentially justifies the end, like how we see in the Across the Spider-Verse film where he's willing to let Miles' father die because, well, if Miles tries to save him, it will fuck up the multiverse, and, well, Miguel, he broke the canon, and so he knows the consequences of what will happen if he doesn't stick to the canon, and, well, that's, like, he understands that it's a difficult thing to pill to swallow, but, like he has to, he understands that, even though it's a difficult thing, he understands that sometimes you can't always save everyone, and that's the thing with being Spider-Man. Sometimes, like, things can't go your way, and sometimes you have to, the greater good is more important than just a few people, Third question, if you had to pick any other language to learn instantly, excluding Japanese for obvious reasons, the only languages I would pick to learn is Arabic, Punjabi, and Urdu, which the only reason is because so I can understand the Quran much better, because I'm a Muslim and I feel really upset by the fact that I don't really understand my own holy book very well, and it does leave me very upset, and well, yeah, but I do my best to understand it, even if I don't really get it a lot of times because I'm kind of stupid. And as for the other 2 languages, it's just so, on my own comic book, it's mainly because like I want to learn, like I want to get inspiration from like certain Arabic words to create new character names and attacks and stuff for my own comic book. But yeah, those are the languages I would pick. It's more for it's mainly for those reasons why I would want to learn those. And thanks for your questions as well. Now on to the Scully 343 or Solidus Scully. His first question: of the post-Team Silent Era Silent Hill games, which is your favorite and why? I've only played 2 of the post-Team Silent Era games. I can't say much on Origins or Shattered Memories, but what I can say is I really like the story of Shattered Memories, of what I know so far from like one of the playthroughs. But yeah, I really like how the game story handled certain subject matters, and the voice acting too really elevated it, man. Like, it's fantastic. I say that Shattered Memories has like the 3rd best voice acting in any of the Silent Hill games, in my opinion. Like, it's in the top 3. Now on to Homecoming. That game fucking sucks. Like, terrible story, terrible gameplay, a horrible fucking main character. It tries to be like Silent Hill 2, but doesn't understand why Silent Hill 2 was so great and why its plot twist was so fantastically well done. And the fucking bullshit revelation that, actually, the Order never actually liked our god. We decided, the founders decided to leave because we said so. Yeah, I don't remember the fucking reason, nor do I want to fucking remember it, because story's terrible, awful story. It's Sonic 06 levels of shit, and I will never review it. I will never do a commentary of it. And even if you as a joke, you say it to me, I will penalty game you. And your penalty game is that you have to play Silent Hill Homecoming for the rest of your life. Like, I'm sorry, man. The Homecoming is a fucking terrible game, man. And I fucking hate the fact it has the same name as Spider-Man Homecoming. Why the fuck is it every piece of media with the name Homecoming and it's always an objectively piece of shit? Like, as long as there's no Dragon Ball Homecoming, everything is okay. This is gonna age terribly, isn't it? But, yeah. As for Silent Hill Downpour, it's not a perfect game, and I do think the first one Silent Hill games are superior to what done it. But what I can say is, it does feel like a lesson learned from Homecoming, and it does feel similar enough to the classic Team Silent games. And, like, it's not perfect, sure, but I did feel as if the developers did at least, not only did they fully understand Silent Hill, but also were given at least more time to develop it in a way where their understanding is clearly shown and it's not completely like dropped after the beginning of the game. And I also really like the main character, Mr. Pendleton. I like that he's not this purely good guy. Well, I mean, he is a good guy deep down, but he's had a lot of hard times in his life, and he's made a lot of mistakes that have really impacted him as a person and the people in his life. And we do see how he does regret deeply the mistakes he's committed, the mistakes he's made and stuff. And well, yeah, it's just, you do really feel bad for him for the fact that he lost his own son to a pedophile, and it really drove him insane. And like, it just sucks what happened to him, man. Although at least that's how I see him, as you can see him a bit differently, because there are multiple endings to the game. And yeah, I also really like the gameplay too. It's really fun and rewarding to play through. I also really like the side quests; they're really fun. I love the music and atmosphere as well, because like, I feel as if this is the only Silent Hill game that has managed to capture a very similar alienating feeling that's similar to the first game, in my opinion at least. I do think 2, 3, and some parts of 3, now Silent Hill 2 I do think the first four Silent Hill games are still more scarier than this one, but when it comes to an alienating horror, I mean, when it comes to, you know, alienating the player, specifically just that, I do think Downpour does it a bit better compared to the other Silent Hill games that are on Silent Hill 1, because in Silent Hill 1 is just, the magic of that game is just so hard to capture. It's just, I feel as if future games couldn't capture it as well, because, you know, with the lack of, crap, what was his name again? The director of the first game, Taichiro Koyama? No, I can't remember his name. You guys who are Silent Hill fans will remember what his name is. I'll probably write his name up here. But, yeah, but, and also, what else do I like about Downpour before we continue? I also really like how, at the end of the game, one of the endings of the game is a, birthday ending, which, it's really, bittersweet. It's really saddening, because, like, the music really makes it really sad, and, the fact that this was also the last Silent Hill game for a good decade makes it all the more sadder, but at the same time, though, I kind of find it wholesome, too, because, like, Silent Hill series, even though it's a very disturbing series, so out of nowhere, it can have the most funniest shit for no reason. Like, there was the fucking alien ending from Silent Hill 1, and then there's the dog ending from Silent Hill 2. Then there's the revenge ending in Silent Hill 3, which is basically the UFO ending. And, yeah, hold on a second. And as for anything else I have to say about Downpour before we move on, I'm really sad this was the last Silent Hill game for a decade, because, like, I do think we could have gotten more good games like this, man, but sadly, no, we're never going to at this point, considering the fact that the newer games, well, don't look promising at all. We know fuck all about them, and the Silent Hill 2 remake is gonna be terrible. Like, first of all, why of all things do you gotta rip off Resident Evil 4? I know it's the remake specifically, but why Resident Evil 4 as a whole? Like, Resident Evil 4 is a piece of shit video game. Like, I know it's not really that much of a hot take, but like, that game fucking sucks. It's the worst Resident Evil game, and Resident Evil was better when it was the tank controls era. Sorry to say, but except I'm not. Fuck that game, and no wonder it got a remake. Because the game was so fucking terrible, I Capcom realized that, yeah, we should remake this game. And what also makes this frustrating for me as a fan of Silent Hill 2 and the series as a whole, Silent Hill 2 remake developer is Bloober Team, and they are infamous for how badly they represent mental health. And oh man, as someone who has gone through a lot of mental health problems in my life, I'm really not looking forward to seeing a game that is beloved for how it showcases mental health and stuff, how it showcases trauma and what it does to a person. It's just, I'm not looking forward to seeing my favorite video game getting destroyed, man, and I'm not looking forward to it, man. It's just, Silent Hill 2 remake is just gonna be fucking terrible, and not looking forward to it at all. And I apologize for ending this off a bit too negatively, but I wanted to get my thoughts out here because, just in case anyone was wondering, you know, how I feel about the remakes and the remake and the new games and stuff, considering, well, I did, because I'm a Silent Hill fan, so, yeah. As for your second question, if you had the power to inflict a penalty game onto someone, who are they, and what would you choose to be their penalty? Andrew Tate, and his penalty game is that he becomes a slave of the Matrix, because he's not the savior of masculinity, he's a piece of shit human being, and, like, to anyone who dick rides him, you're a fucking dumbass. That's all I'm gonna say, because talking about him as a whole just makes me really fucking angry, and I don't want to get too angry here, at least until a later question, but yeah. Now as for your final question, since you mentioned discussion style videos in the future, are there any topics that you are interested in talking about that can give your audience a hint as to what's coming next after the Frieza Saga videos. It's specifically on things I like Dragon Ball, Yu-Gi-Oh, Silent Hill, Sonic, Spider-Man. Specifically on topics and things that I like, such as like, what makes me explaining. Okay, let me explain a bit. So, when I was rereading the Yu-Gi-Oh manga and stuff, I really wanted to review it because there was so many things I feel as if not people talk about, especially with how Takahashi executed his story, the character arcs, the themes, and how his work was adapted into anime form. And I want to make a review of the stories as well, but of the manga, more reviews of the manga and the anime. But the thing is, like, if you see my old reviews, you know how long they could be, and like, there's so much stuff to unravel. I figured that doing a discussion style video would be much more beneficial because, number one, I could focus on just the one topic on its own, and it'd be a much more efficient way. Plus, plus also, it gives me more content to make in the future, so I don't run out of stuff, too soon. And it also allows me to, I guess, it helps me to get out my opinions out on the stories. What exactly do I love about the stories? In a more efficient way instead of doing it the harder way, Also, Scully, I hate to do this to you, bro, but why you gotta put an I in there for? Why? Why'd you have to use the fucking Funimation spelling of his name for? This oh my god. Oh my days. But I forgive you for this. I'll forgive you for it, man. I'll let you off the hook on this. Even though I did get a bit emotional over something as this, but whatever. I forgive you for it. Yeah, thanks for your questions, Scully, and I look forward to the Silent Hill Downpour review. Okay, and now on to Masaru-kun, who sent me an email, but well, that's fine either way. He gave me 5 questions to answer. His first question: what are some of your favorite monster designs you can choose from more than one franchise? It's a mix-up between the Silent Hill series, Resident Evil, Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm trying to think what other monster designs do I like. Oh yeah, the Super Sentai series are some of my favorite monster designs too, and I can't think of anything else at the moment right now, but it's those 4 specifically where the most of my favorite monster designs come from, because with Super Sentai, I love how, I like how all because this goes for all, but they're all really creative, very unique, and I like the powers that they all have and stuff, and I also like how they're used too, like in Silent Hill, I really like how, well, I just like how the monsters, have this, I guess, a lot of them can look really cool and actually really fucking creepy too, especially in the Silent Hill and Resident Evil series. I'm trying to think which Silent Hill monsters do I find to be really creepy. I can't think at the moment. I'm so sorry for this. But, yeah, it's a bit hard for me to pick one specifically because they all got great monster designs, and I can't really pick which one specifically. I just love them all, because they're all great in their own way. So to pick one or the other is just, it's a bit hard. It's quite hard for me. As for your second question, favorite 3D models of Sonic the Hedgehog. There's the 2 Sonic Adventure games, the in-game models and the CGI model. I really love the CGI model in Sonic 06 and Sonic Unleashed. I hate the models, in-game models, but the CGI models for the cutscenes, they are fantastic. I also really like his model in Sega Superstars, the one on the PS2. I also really like the model he has in Sonic Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog, the in-game model, and also I like the CGI model that was used in Shadow the Hedgehog as well. Really good model. Also, I really like the model that was used in the cancelled / lost MMO game if I remember correctly, it was called. I'll show a picture of what it looks like, and yeah, that's a really good model. Much better than the fucking Unleashed model and models onwards, because they are shit! That's all I'm gonna say on that matter. As for your third question, if you could design your own very game, what would its gameplay and story be like? Any inspirations behind it? Okay, so for the gameplay, it would basically be similar to the Sonic Adventure games, where one character has their own specific style of gameplay. So like, one character would basically be gameplay style would be essentially similar to the Neversoft era of Spider-Man games, the PS1 Spider-Man games. Another character would have like classic survival horror gameplay style. Another one would be like a, beat 'em up, like Devil May Cry, or like some other type of game like that. Basically, it'd be a combination. The gameplay and story would basically be a combination of like what I love about all my favorite games, and yeah, basically just imagine the Neversoft Spider-Man game, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Sonic Adventure 2, 1 and 2, and basically like a lot of games I just love as a whole, as you no doubt know from me. Like all of them put together and just made into like a game I would love to play, man. Yeah, I know I didn't explain it very well, but that's the best way I can put it, because like I never really thought about this question. I never really thought about it this much, but if I was to make my own game, I would like to make it like that. As for your fourth question, what kind of villain would you be? Why would you want to be a villain? That's fucking lame, bro. Evil is dumb. Yeah, that's my answer. Evil is dumb. Question 5. When do you plan to get into Shin Megami Tensei and Persona? Which game would you most likely start with? I don't know when, but I wouldn't really mind picking one over the other first, because I don't know which one I'll pick. I don't know when I'll get to them, but when I do hope to have fun with them, because they do look pretty fun. And I know for you, Masaru-kun, you told me a lot about like what's great about the series, and it has piqued my interest a lot. And yeah, thanks for your questions as well. And alright, one to the final two people who asked me some questions. So first up is Johnny. His first question: there was one game you could play for the rest of your life. What game would it be? Oh, I don't know, man. This is too difficult. There's Silent Hill 2, then there's Sonic Adventure 2, then there's Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, then there's Resident Evil 2, Code Veronica, Spider-Man for the PlayStation, Spider-Man the movie game, Spider-Man 2 the movie game, Ben 10 Protector of Earth. Like, there's so many games I love, man. To pick one, oh, I don't know, man. Onwards to your second question. What are your favorite activities that you enjoy doing when you go outside? I like to go for walks. I like to go to the gym. I'm not very consistent when it goes to the gym, but when I do go, I have a lot of fun. But yeah, I need to get way more consistent with going to the gym, man. But yeah. I also like to go see a few family members of mine that I'm still in touch with. I like to go out and eat at a nice place, go and do some sightseeing, and doing things that are what you're supposed to do as a human being, not being a miserable person on Twitter, like how I was. And as for your third question, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? I don't know at this moment in time, but I do have an idea. At least by the next 5 years, I hope to have at least achieved a physically more healthier body, mentally and emotionally more stronger than I am right now. I have good drawing skills. I'm a much better writer. I hope to at least have made a good enough amount of progress in the next 5 years, when it comes to my self-improvement journey, which to everyone who doesn't understand self-improvement very well, self-improvement is improving all aspects of your life. It's not just going to the gym or studying more. It's not hustle culture like a lot of dumbass, big video essay people love to do and make it out to be. And onwards to the final set of questions from Dark Hero. Dark Hero, not Hero. What the fuck was that? Hero? I'm so sorry for that, Dark Hero, man. I'm so sorry. But, yeah, for your first question, what kind of... what fighting games do you favor the most? Can be more than one. I really like Street Fighter, King of the Fighters, and Dragon Ball Z Budokai. I like Budokai more because I'm much better at that game, but Street Fighter and King of the Fighters is pretty good too. I don't know why I was stuttering there, but whatever, I feel a bit tired even though it's 6 o'clock in the afternoon and it's still sunny, so why am I complaining? I'm not like a big fighting game fan, by the way, but when I do play fighting games, I do have fun with them. Even though I'm absolutely fucking terrible at them, but I enjoy them. Question 2. What is your most favorite saga of the Dragon Ball Z run in the manga? For anyone who doesn't know, there is no DBZ manga. It's just a name that Toriyama made because Toei Animation decided to split the manga into 2 anime series when they decided to adapt to the Z era, which on one hand I like, but on the other hand I kind of wish they didn't, but even though it's a bit wrong for them to do because it is just one story, Dragon Ball Z is a really fucking cool name, man, and it sets the stage knowing that this is the finale of the series. Even though it took longer for it to end because, well, you know, but yeah, it's peak fiction, but yeah, I don't want to get too in-depth with this one because there's so much I can say about it and I don't want this video being way longer than it actually is. And I do have a lot to say for your 4th question, a lot, because, yeah, but what I will quickly summarize what I'm about to say here. So, my most favorite saga is the Frieza saga because, like, I mean, what can I say that hasn't been said already? Got a great cast of characters, great villains, great story. The development of Goku is fantastic. The build up to Super Saiyan and the payoff is fantastic. The fights are amazing. The choreography is fucking beautiful. Its themes. Oh my god, this is peak fiction. The anime may not be perfect, but the manga, fucking hell, the Frieza saga in the manga is fantastic, man. And fucking hell, there's so much I want to talk about with the Frieza saga, but like I don't want to just get it out right here, right now, because there's so much to unravel, and it's just, oh my god. I know I'm not going in depth right now because, like, again, this would take too long, and I don't want this video being longer than it already is. But Dragon Ball Z, more like Dragon Ball Peak. That's all I'm gonna say. If you took charge of a Sonic Adventure 2 remake / remaster, what would you keep and change? This question could be loaded increase, so take your time if you must. Okay, so if I was in charge, the only thing what the remake / remaster would be is just the same game, but quality of life improvements, and me going, okay, what is it that was great about Sonic Adventure 2? And what can we do to make it even more amazing, you know? And, like, for the gameplay, that's essentially be for the gameplay and the story, but for the story, I would like to expand upon some of the details of the arc a bit more, improve the presentation of the story, which even though Adventure 2's story is well done, you know, today we can definitely tell the story much better, which, you know, with how technology has advanced, you know, it's just amazing how well we can tell stories much better now compared to back then. But yeah. And yeah, that's really all I would change. Like, I don't really have a lot of negative things to say about Sonic Adventure 2. I know I sound like a fanboy, and yeah, that's really all I would, you know, do with it. Probably not be the remake that everyone would love, but for me, that would how I would do the remake. And well, another thing I would change. There was one thing I would majorly change. I would make sure that Rouge and Knuckles do feel different enough from each other, because I feel as if they aren't different enough. but they don't feel different enough whenever you play them because, like, I feel as if they're a bit too similar to each other. With Sonic and Shadow and Tails and Eggman, you can, when you play as them, you do feel as if there is a difference in how they control, you know? But with Knuckles and Rouge, I don't really feel that whenever I'm playing as them. They feel a bit too similar to each other, but it's not as if they're not fun to play. They are really fun to play as, but I do think they didn't make them different. They didn't make them feel different enough, you know. But yeah, I'll skip to question 5 because question 4, I want to save that for the last. So yeah, I'm skipping to question 5. What was your favorite kind of dish for lunch and or for dinner? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm not a big food guy, but I do like to eat fish and chicken in the oven and grilled as well. Really tasty stuff. Well, I had to record this multiple times, and I don't even know if I'll have to do this again. But I did tell Dark Hero this, that the question, I had a difficult time answering the question, got to me a lot, and he said it's okay if I don't want to answer it that well. And so here's my answer. I know I'm not elaborating very well, but I don't want to do it anymore. I'm sick of it all. I'm emotionally and mentally stressed out right now, and I just want to get this video done and over with now. Just leave me alone, damn it. As for anything else, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed my answers. I hope you liked the video. I honestly didn't really enjoy making this video. It was way too emotionally and mentally annoying and fucking painful to make, but yeah, this my personal life has been really crap for me recently. Don't want to delve into it, but yeah. Despite how I may come off at the end, I do hope this video at least helped you all with something you're doing right now or whatever it is you're going through. And hopefully I'll be much more cheerier next time I make a video. But yeah, thanks for asking me some questions. I hope you enjoyed, and see you later. Goodbye.